So how do we stay well in challenging times? How do we manage our mental well-being? Well, here's how. As someone who is has so much lived experience of mental health problems, I've learned lots of different helpful ways to help my own well-being, and I've shared those with others to also help them help theirs. And whilst I'm studying mental health, there are some cornerstones, because obviously a big trigger is changing times, pandemic, lockdown, whatever it is for you right now. Those challenges in life are triggers that could slip us up. So for me, it's about having key things in place, key pillars to keep us as mentally well as possible, because there's a difference between mental health generally, which I'm talking about, and well-being, and mental health problems. That's when we need professional advice and to seek professional support. But most of all, no matter what your situation is, there's all simple ways that we can actually help our mental health. That's by staying active, even when we don't feel like it, just moving. Anything is better than nothing. So keeping active each day is so important. Just a little walk, like a breath of fresh air, whilst the kettle boils, doing some star jumps, whatever it is, just to boost your mind and body. Then, of course, we've got a real cornerstone, which is sleep. Whenever you can, get that nap in or that sleep, because that's something so many of us neglect. Also, I know a lot of people oversleep a lot, but also just make sure you get in that sleep, those 7 to 8 hours at least, or whatever works for you. Get in that sleep, because honestly, that affects how we eat, how we exercise, how we control our emotions. It just impacts absolutely everything. Stay hydrated. I'm trying to wean myself off too many squashes and stuff, so I started with mint, lemon and lime in my water, but I drink so much water throughout the day to keep us hydrated as possible, because that helps our mind and body and our overall well-being. To eat well, drink well. I'm not saying I don't have a lot of coffee as well. I'm not perfect. But again, having that mindset that all these small little changes will add up to good well-being, because well-being isn't just happiness in every single moment. It's overall control of our life. So it doesn't mean that we don't get knocked down, but it's that we've got the right tools to pick ourselves back up again. And what might have knocked us down if we weren't as well, what may have knocked us down if we weren't as well and would spiraled out of control, to now where we can keep as mentally well as possible. So stay hydrated, stay active, get that sleep in as much as possible, and remember, it's about habits and building in those habits. So being kind on yourself. It is challenging times. It's not always right for people just to brush things off. Get some support too. Get that community, that connection, even if it's just online or offline. There's so many different support groups. I've got my own Squats and Sparkles group on Facebook, and I'll put the link below, or if you join my mailing list below, you'll get all the details on that. But there's so many different support groups out there, that to find that little group that you can be yourself in, and you can be positive, you can laugh, you can cry, you can express yourself however is right for you, because it's not about concealing our emotions by throwing ourselves into things, trying to be overproductive or overly positive, or the opposite. We don't want to dwell too much and be too negative. It's about just being real and showing up. And honestly, what I find, by putting in my building blocks each day, my morning routine, no matter what, of being as active as possible first thing to get it out of the way, and then listening to my podcast whilst I clean up or do whatever. You might want to journal, you might want to do some mindfulness. I'm better to go out and go on a walk if I can. Whatever works for you is right for you, and it's about finding that routine for yourself, finding those rhythms. Do you know, when we have challenges, we often do get thrown off track, and that's totally natural, so don't beat yourself up. I always say be your own unconditional best friend, because talk to yourself how you talk to a best friend. You won't go, oh, you idiot, I can't believe you felt like that yesterday, or you weren't as productive as you should have been. And no, you wouldn't. Well, hopefully you wouldn't. You'd actually say like, well, no, you've obviously got a really challenging time at the moment, and let's try and work through it together. What can we do? What can we put in place to help you? What can we do to sustain your well-being? So actually finding those building blocks for yourself. And you know, if there are doubts in your head or roadblocks in your head that stop you fulfilling doing these things, really try and seek some support, whether it be through a personal trainer, or it could be a mental health practitioner or a life coach, whatever it is, to try and like unpick those issues that are holding us back from, whether it being active. For me, it was actually allowing myself to sleep, which sounds bizarre, but because when I struggle, I throw myself into work because we're all unique, and that's how I cope with it, because I love my work, but I also escape in it. And then it was like, well, I can't fit in sleep. I felt guilty about sleeping. So there was a lot to unpick, and still unpicking that. And often we have these like, well, I just can't get to sleep, or I just can't do this. But actually having a professional there to help unpick those things, to help us all. We've all got roadblocks. We've all got issues in our life that we need to overcome. Nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. And for me, it's about resilience, picking ourselves back up again and starting to try and take positive control in as much as possible. Thanks so much as ever for joining me. As ever, you know, I'm on Facebook and all social media at Mama May Blog, also for my personal training and all that kind of fitness stuff, feel good fitness for women. I'm at Belly Dancer Sophie. So I'll send you all so much peace, so much love, hydration, and so many shimmies. See you guys later. Bye.